Okay, guys, we are back with game two. And now I'm joined by Invisi here. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks.
And yep, game one actually showed a very dominant performance on the side of Myth, with the Lucian there
Uh,
just smashing into them. What did you think of that?
I only saw the last few minutes of it, so I didn't actually see much. But I actually, can you get them to restart the room? Sorry, I accidentally, as soon as it started, I accidentally left. So you'll have to can you get them to restart the champion select? Sorry.
That's all right.
Uh, that's embarrassing. Um, because I can't actually um, join it.
Let's see if we can get this restart. Now Invisi is back in the lobby, and hopefully we can get Inben back as well.
Uh, Apologies for that, everyone. Uh, it's My mouse was just hovered over the quit spectating button as soon as Champion Select started, so I inadvertently left the lobby. I'm assuming we'll be doing same picks and bans up to whatever point we were at.
Yes, the bands were Maokai, Kha'Zix, and Lee Sin.
Okay, so fairly standard bans so far. Um, yeah, nothing really surprising. I'm not sure what the. Do you remember what was banned in the first game? This is game two, correct?
Yes, in the
Yes.
first game, I believe
Hmm.
it was Maokai, Kha'Zix. I think it was Lux band.
Okay.
Um, there was I'm trying to remember them.
And
Some
there's the Lucian ban you were talking.
Yeah,
So
and the Lee Sin band as well. Peeben was actually doing a lot of work, being very deadly with that Lee Sin.
okay then.
There was an Evelyn ban as well.
Okay. Yeah, so a couple of standard bands, a couple of target bands, and a Z ban as well. So
Yeah. All
yeah.
three bands that have come out from Volky here seem to be target bans.
But the Anivia first pick, wow, that's not a champion you see. Oh, there may have been a miscommunication there because we
And I found out that I was actually mispronouncing the names. Zero City is actually meant to be pronounced like ferocity, so Zerocity.
Zerosity, right.
And the ILLIII
I'm
guy
assuming
is
that's barcode.
barcode.
Barcode, of course, it's barcode.
Yeah,
It's a
it's barcode.
um, so we'll have the same bands up to this point. So the Z and the Thresh band. So mostly standard bands. And we do have that Anivia first pick was indeed intended. So that'll be interesting to see. Just definitely a strong champion, but not sure if I would consider it first pick worthy. She really is. She Anivia is kind of one of those champions that you build a team comp around, or you use it as a counter pick to certain comps. So she's very good for zone control, and she's better, as a kind of later in the draft when you can see your opposing team is, going to be hampered by that zone control. So, but a strong champion, and we'll have to see how well Fong does with it.
Yeah, and Dougie D does get the Jarvan again, as well as Grelb actually picking the Yasuo this time. Yasuo is very strong, as you know, and
Mm.
Dougie D did do. pretty okay on the Javan. It's just he did hold the Cataclysms a few times.
Yeah, so and that Yasuo pick, of course, very strong against Anivia. I must say, playing a bit of Anivia myself, that matchup is one of the less fun matchups that Anivia has access to. Um, you know, with Yasuo being able to use that sweeping blade in and out of lane across the lane, it is really hard to deal with him. And of course, Anivia with that rebirth passive, with that egg, champions with high sustained damage like Yasuo being able to take that egg out before she uh, hatches, are very very strong in that regard. But Vijana, so fairly strong, and we've got an instant lock from the Malphite Tristana as well. So the champion select progressing quite quickly at this point.
Yeah, and actually, I'm pretty sure that Volker is actually looking for that wombo combo again. But
Mm.
mm,
Well, of course, they now have the infamous Malphite Yasuo combo, or just Yasuo with anyone with an AoE knockup. So that unstoppable force into the last breath is going to be, a really really strong combo. And having a cataclysm around you once you've come back to the ground is not going to be fun either. Uh, so this lineup looking very scary. But Shyvana also a champion we haven't seen in a while. Was quite popular. Interesting to see how it'll match up against this Malphite pick.
yeah, she actually has fallen out of the meta. I think it might have been due to just her just was it due to a nerf or was it due to
Not really.
just other champs being the more desirable pick at top lane?
Yeah, it was just an evolution of the meta, really. A couple of champions got popular, and all of a sudden, Shyvana just fell out of people's eyes. But surely yeah, of course they will swap. But a Blitzcrank last pick, that's something you don't see too often. But definitely a very strong pick against a Janna. Janna really doesn't have much in a Blitzcrank lane. She's a fairly passive laner, and she's very good at disengaging, but she really, really isn't very strong if you force an all in with a Blitzcrank or a champion like that. So a very, very good pick. Also going to be very strong against that Anivia. She can't, if she gets pulled in, she's not going to be able to control the zone properly because she is fairly squishy when she's focused properly.
Yeah, when faced in a 1v5 situation, just in the middle of five people, not a good idea for for Nivea there. But yeah, I'm actually curious as to the Blitzcrank Tristana lane because Blitzcrank usually works very well with bursty AD carries such as
Mhm.
Lucian, Corki, but Tristana having that slightly weaker laning phase against Corki and Janna. How do you think that's going to go?
Well, Tristana's always been, famed for her strong early game and strong late game with a fall off in the mid game. So, in that early game, her abilities actually have quite high damage. So, level two, level three burst is actually quite high from Tristana. It was the explosive shot active damage has been nerfed in recent patches because of her popularity. Um, but Tristana Blitzcrank is actually quite a lot of burst, so expect that to be quite a strong lane. Um, of course, it really leaves her very little in the way of peel. So with that assault and battery coming from Peeben, later in the game, Tristana's barcode there is really going to have a lot of trouble because there is very little, if any at all, peel on his team. Um, so that's Yeah, he's got a worrisome of Pebian and Zinc jumping on his face with the Vi Shyvana combo, and that there doesn't seem to be much in terms of Barcode being able to deal with that from help from his team.
Zinc as well against Grub, the top lane matchup. See, Shyvana versus Malphite. I actually haven't. I've seen the matchup a while ago, but it may have actually been in the favor of Malphite due to his ability to just use that cheese wheel and get out of there before Shyvana can get too many hits in.
Yeah, so that the seismic shard from Malphite, of course, being able to steal all of that movement speed that Shyvana likes to have so much with that burnout, and of course the ground slam slowing Shyvana's attack speed being her primary source of damage. So Malphite will probably do okay in that lane, and of course he'll transition into the massive tank with the unstoppable force to combo with Inven there. Um, I don't see too much kill pressure from either side in this top lane, to be honest. Both top lane is fairly tanky, and they both have a fair amount of damage, but really not tank killing levels of damage. So this lane's going to be probably mostly a farm lane until the junglers decide to get involved.
Yeah, top lane in total isolation until an external force comes along and ruins the day. But yeah, Fong actually holding the exhaust there on for Yasuo, a very smart move.
Yeah, definitely. I did notice that Fong switched over to that exhaust, and Yasuo being a attack speed based champion, having that exhaust on him if he goes for an all in, uh, just a very good choice on anyone really. Being able to take that exhaust against the likes of a Zed or a Yasuo who will be a telegraphed all in, getting into melee range. So being in range for that exhaust to be cast as well. Really going to help Fong in those all in duels.
Yeah, and we are in the loading screens now. I think Myth have actually won the fashion contest so far with the three skins, but yeah, it's
So this just remind me what the team names were. Sorry.
Myth is Zinc. Myth Gaming is
So
Zinc.
Myth
Peven.
Gaming on the blue side and the yellow side are, I believe you're saying is Volca?
Yeah, Team Volca.
Team Volca, I believe. Yeah. I feel like I've casted Volca before, perhaps at the Wellington qualifiers. Do you know if they're a
Yeah,
New Zealand team?
they are a New Zealand team, and they actually did get in through the Wellington qualifiers.
Yeah, so I remember the Road to Glory qualifiers for Wellington Volca were there. I believe did they win that? No,
I'm not.
they were in the finals. I can't remember whether or not they
Yeah, they
won.
were in the finals, but don't. I think they might have won. I'm not too sure right now.
Yeah,
D
I must admit I
Having
remember
a little
casting the
lapse of
games.
memory.
Yeah, I remember casting the games, but I don't actually remember who won, um, or who their opponents were for that matter. So
Yeah.
that's a bit silly of me, but should be into this game soon. And looking at level ones, of course, the big standout is of course that Blitzcrank pick. So often indicative of potential level one actions. So we'll have to see what Pune decides to do with that. And Volker definitely in the position to go for an early level one invade, and you really use that hook pressure.
Yeah, they're trying to just